Hey, what's up, and welcome to a new video. Today I'm going to address and answer a question from a viewer who had a question about working full-time whilst getting started in property. So the question is from a Ben Coop 360. Hey, what's it? And it says, is it possible to deal source whilst working a 9-to-5 job through the week? Love your videos, by the way. Hey, I love you guys watching too. So is it possible to deal source during the week, working 9 till 5 and working in deal sourcing? Well, the answer to that is it's all up to you, and it's only possible if you make it possible. Now that answer probably annoys you, and I get that, because that would probably annoy me too. But the reality is that you know your schedule. Yes, you work a 9 to 5, but I'm not sure what other commitments you may have. I don't know if you've got kids, whether you work at home, whether you're working going into work, whether you've got a 2-hour journey before work, a 2-hour journey after work. And I don't want to answer that question and you're trying to live up to my expectation and burn yourself out. It's very important that you live up to your expectation. I think it's possible. I think it's possible, but I think that you will have to put the work in. You'll be needing to have to really put the hours in to be able to do that. So what do I mean when I say that? Well, working 9 to 5, say you have an hour's commute into work and an hour's commute home from work, okay? So that's more like an 8 till 6, right? Then obviously you're going to get dressed and all that other stuff. Now, when you're deal sourcing, there's 2 routes to market. You can go direct to vendor, or you can just work solemnly with estate agents or deal sources yourself. It depends on what structure of deal sourcing you're doing, because the reason I say you can work with deal sources is because you can work with someone who's actually doing all the work and you partner with them and you go and find the investors and then you're sharing what you're doing. Some deal sources don't actually mind that because they don't have the time to be looking for investors and finding deals. So that's a situation you can look at and consider, but that's not what we're talking about. So in terms of the time commitments, there's 2 routes that you can consider, or actually 3 routes that you consider, and you want to look at the best route for you and your circumstance. I do believe it is possible, but you do need to find the right route that suits your situation. So deal sourcing, there's 2 things that you're doing when you're deal sourcing. You are playing the matchmaker, okay? You're finding deals, you're finding motivated sellers, people who need to sell, situations that need to happen so they can let go of these properties. So not situations that need to happen so they can let go, but you're trying to find homeowners who want to sell and sell like yesterday. You want to find motivated sellers, okay? On the other hand, you want to find business owners who want motivated sellers. You want to find business people and business entrepreneurs and investors who want to buy deals. They want to make money in property. Now, I've got to be honest with you, there are different types of investors in property. You'll find investors who don't mind buying the buy-to-let on the market, get their 6%, get their 5%, and they're happy with that. They have money in abundance. That's not really their thing about getting a deal. They just want their money parked where it's safe, it's sound, and that's fine. Fantastic. There's nothing wrong with that. Then you have a different type of investor who wants to squeeze everything you can get from a deal, okay? They want to squeeze it like when you're wringing a towel and you want every last drop of water. There are investors like that. And this is where you come in, because you now will be finding those type of deals. Not where you're squeezing homeowners. Let me be very clear on that. I'm just meaning that you're finding the opportunity and seeing where you can add the value, and then you're selling that on to an investor. So you're literally playing matchmaker. There's different ways that you can approach deal sourcing. So you can be like a McDonald's and have your menu of what you source. So you may source HMOs, you might source buy-to-lets, you might source service accommodation, whatever it is you're sourcing. You have your menu, and then an investor comes in and chooses from the menu. That's one way of doing it. Then you have other ways where you are tailored, right? And I actually prefer this way, because now you have a buyer at the end, okay? And this way, you actually go and find your investor first, and then speak with your investor, build the relationship with your investor, go and find what they're looking for. So you work out what it is that they want, what they need, what they want, what their requirements are, and then you go and find that deal for them. Now I like that way because you are finding a deal for an investor, and it's what he wants, okay? I can't think of a shop that does that, but it's more like tailors. I guess tailors, you go in and they tailor a suit for you, for your needs, for your requirements, and that suit fits you perfectly, right? And nothing like some tailored clothes, trust me. I get my African outfits made tailored, and girl, they fit me like a bag of chips. So right, so that's what the difference is. Now, you can obviously offer a combination of those, because there's times where a tailored service, where a deal, the investor's situation changes and you're here stuck with a tailored deal to their requirements. It's sensible then to build relationships with other investors, so you're not just having your one hand stuck in the pot with one person. You build relationships. So if you're finding that you live in a particular area, let's just say Swansea and South Wales, and you are finding investors or finding deals for a particular investor, but then that investor changes his mind, build up a relationship with other investors who are also looking in that area. So then if that deal flops out of bed with him and he don't want it or she don't want it no more, then you can go to the other one, you can go to the other one, you can go to the other one and offer this deal round, right? Obviously there's a system and there's a process to it. You don't just do it like that. There's a process and there's a system to how you set yourself up. So investors, number one, they are serious, okay? That's a key thing. If you have a 9 to 5 job, you don't want to be wasting time. You don't want to be working and wasting time. You want to make sure that you can work in a way that's efficient. So you'll be using other people's time, such as a virtual assistant who can help you do the day-to-day stuff that you may not be able to do, such as collecting information off of a landlord who's just called because he saw your marketing and is interested in your services. You can set it up so that call goes to a virtual assistant and they answer the call, take down information, like an all-day PA, take down the information, and then you get that email of just their information. You do your research on the property and then give them a call and have a general conversation. So all your time then is having phone calls. So you want to set up businesses and processes so your business flows well and your time is used efficiently. Now, if you don't have money to spend like that and you really don't want to be spending like that, then again, this is something that you will need to do. And if that's the case, I think the best bet is going through estate agents. Some people don't think you can source a deal through an estate agent because the estate agents already sourced the deal. How are you now sourcing the deal, right? And then people say, I just want off market only. I don't see what the difference is. What you have to do is find a deal. If you build a relationship with an agent, they will give you a deal and you sell the deal. And as well as that, you're kind of, I feel like there's a lot less involved in doing it when you're going through agents. When you're going direct to vendor, you've got to understand circumstances. You have to understand situations. When I first got started in property, I went to a Tigrant Rich Dad Poor Dad course and they were telling me, buy houses for £1, buy houses for £1. And I was on a high, and I did try this for 8 whole months. Done all the leaflets and standing outside of train stations, and I managed to get landlords who were interested, but I just didn't know the right terminology. I didn't understand what mortgage debt was, and so not mortgage debt, I didn't understand what negative equity really meant, and then how that implicates me into this deal, and what do I have to do when someone's in negative equity? Can I still buy the house? What happens? But I didn't know you can use a delayed completion. I didn't know you can use a lease option. I didn't know these kind of things, so that you can, I didn't know that I could sign a power of attorney and then be in the position to be able to speak with the lenders directly. I did not know this kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it took me a while of, learning these things, getting education, making mistakes to understand this is what you need to do. If you have a 9 to 5, it might be challenging for you to go and sit down and speak with a landlord about I just assumed a landlord. Speak with a homeowner about their situation when you don't really know much about the situation behind it and around it. Whereas if you're going through an agent, I just find that it's just a lot less intense, and you can just say, you can still go and get a deal, you can still bag loads of deals. But again, it depends on the investor, it depends on so many different things, and this is why you have to watch videos like this, you have to shop around, you have to get property education to really understand what's involved in deal sourcing, so that you can take the right steps and not waste time. Very, very important. But again, then you've got the side of the investor. Looking for investors can be a bit of a job. When an investor knows that you are a deal sourcer, they all want a piece of the cake, because you find deals and I'm looking for deals. So please call me when you have a deal. But what you find is that some people just really want to look. They just want to see what deals look like, and they actually never buy anything. And that is a situation you want to avoid. So you need to qualify your investor and make sure that they are in a position to be buying deals by seeing the finance yourself. But of course, if you're going to operate like that, then you have to be legit. And there's also steps you've got to take to be legit. But all of this, the core reason of why I point all of that out is because it all takes time. You need time for networking. You need time for doing your follow-up calls. You need time for doing viewings. You need time to have conversations with builders and making sure that there's the renovation cost that you think it will cost will be that cost. You need time to be showing around these builders. You need time to, because you need an idea of what the numbers are going to be, so you can then show that to the investor who will be buying. But the key thing is you do need time. I do believe that you can work a 9 to 5 and source deals, but I think that you have to be willing to put a lot of work in and really be efficient with the way you work. So you might want to be working in the morning, working again during your lunch periods, and then working again in the evenings, or working on the weekends. But if you're working on the weekends, really banging it out. And I mean, you know, really banging it out. So if you're going to use someone, you know, if you're going to go to vendors and do it via leaflets, send out leaflets. Now, personally, I walk the streets myself. This is why I charge for deal sourcing, because you've got to walk the streets and post letters in there. Yes, I can pay someone, and when I was investing in Croydon, I paid someone to do that. But the difference is that you don't really get to get an idea of what's happening in the streets. You don't. Whereas when I'm out posting these letters, I can, some people even open up the door and say, oh, hello, oh, hi, you know that house down there is vacant, do you know the owner? And in South Wales, everybody know everybody, so fortunately they know the owner. But you know, depending on your situation, depending on your location, it's good to actually get your hands a little bit dirty as well. It's not essential, and it depends on the time commitments you have, but I find it useful, but just to get going, but not to stay going. Eventually you hand that stuff over if you want to. But if you do property full-time and it's all you do, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Sometimes you get help, sometimes you don't. It depends on where you are at the time, and it depends on what your overall goals are as well. So everyone's in property for various different reasons. So my latest client who signed up, he is not in property to try and get rich because he already is rich. Right? So he's in property to make sure his money's parked and his money's safe, and that his money can grow naturally. Well, it's not called natural, it can grow, I'm going to say naturally for now, but that's not what I mean. But he's quite content in his job, and that's fantastic. That's fantastic. Those are the kind of people who I want to work with. These are the kind of people who you want to work with if you're a deal sourcer, because they know what they want, straight to the point, and it's very clear and cut, and they can prove that this is where they are financially and therefore can work with you. So I think you can. It's all about being efficient with your time, knowing what you're doing, and making sure that there's proof in every element that you've got going on. So proof that the investor's got money, and then that you're able to really close on the deal when it's time to close on the deal. So that means either if you're going to go direct to vendor, knowing what terminologies are, knowing what situations will be coming about, so you can then tend to those situations and close, or if not, going through agents and going through an agent. Just in case you're wondering, agents do delayed completions and lease options. Okay, so I hope this video was very helpful. If you like this content, be sure to subscribe. I'm really enjoying sharing this information with you, and I'll see you in another video. Take care. Bye.